Even if you're not a hardcore WWE guy, chances are you still love the Royal Rumble match just as much as the rest of the WWE universe does. After all, not only does it serve as the start to the road to WrestleMania, but the allure of grand returns, jaw-dropping spots, and 60 minutes of total non-stop action. No, not that, but you get what I'm saying. On paper, the idea that anyone can win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania to fight for the world title at the grandest stage of them all sounds pretty unscrewable, right? But leave it to Vince McMahon to somehow find a way to book such a horrible last-minute finish to the first premium live event of the year that the entire audience ends up booing his chosen winner out of the damn arena. And here are 10 such instances where the wrong wrestler ended up winning the Royal Rumble. So, ladies and gentlemen, number 7, Sheamus. Although the Celtic Warrior has always been a great in-ring performer and a true workhorse of his generation, his early years in the main roster were plagued by WWE's bad booking, and he was doomed because of being overexposed and overpushed. After having reinvigorated his career, Chris Jericho blessed the WWE universe with and it was clear that WWE was gearing for the Ayatollah of rock and roller to achieve the only thing that he hadn't in his Hall of Fame worthy career: win the Rumble. However, at the event, Vince pulled one of his controversial last-minute swerves and booked bland babyface Sheamus to win the Rumble by last eliminating Jericho, much to the fans' disappointment. Though Y2J still went on to face CM Punk at Mania for the WWE title, it would have been so much more meaningful if Jericho had won the Rumble to get there, since Sheamus's disappointingly booked World Heavyweight title bout against Daniel Bryan, aka the infamous 18-second squash match, didn't need it. Number 6, Triple H. Back in 2016, after Seth Rollins had to vacate the WWE Championship because of an injury, it spelled the start of Vince McMahon's Chosen One, aka Roman Reigns' nightmare of a babyface push, and the WWE was doing everything in their power to get Reigns over after he won the title, having the Authority screw him at every turn to get the big dog over as an underdog. But the WWE Universe was relentless with their reluctance to accept another John Cena. So, come January, Vince got an idea to stack the deck even more against Reigns and forced him to defend the title in the Royal Rumble at entry number 1. At the time, the one versus all was an interesting storyline, but it got predictable real fast when a company executive and part-time wrestler, Triple H, entered the Rumble last and eliminated Reigns and Dean Ambrose, who was red hot at the time, to win the title, since it was clear that the plan all along was for Reigns to win it back from the game at WrestleMania. What followed was a poor recreation of McMahon-Austin dynamic in a feud that culminated with one of the most forgettable Mania main events in history, and Reigns' final coronation in what was meant to be a passing of the torch moment from the King of Kings, fell victim to a shower of boos like much of Roman's career during that era. Number 5, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The finish of 1997's Rumble match was an absolute mess, and it was all WWF's fault for their confusing and stupid overbooking. Near the end of the match, Bret Hart managed to throw Austin over the top rope for a clean elimination that was caught on camera, but no official saw it, so the Rattlesnake slithered back into the ring and eliminated the celebrating Bret to officially win the Rumble, which left the Hitman fuming, and rightfully so. In the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, Bret won the vacant title but lost it to Sid a day later due to interference from Austin, and at the Showcase of Immortals, Stone Cold ended up facing Bret Hart in a highly acclaimed submission grudge match, while The Undertaker went on to defeat Sid for the WWF title in a lackluster main event. In hindsight, if the plan was to put the belt on the dead man, then why book Austin to cheat his way to victory and nullify the outcome of the Rumble? Taker should have just won the Rumble, and they should have saved Austin's first Rumble coronation for 1998, aka the year of the Rattlesnake. Number 4, Mr. McMahon. Without a doubt, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mr. McMahon and his corporate champion, The Rock, was the feud that defined the Attitude Era of WWF, but things got a little out of hand when Vince booked Austin and himself as entrant number 1 and 2 in the 1999 Rumble match. Both of them spent the majority of the Rumble outside of the ring and ended up returning at the end only for Vince to eliminate Austin with the help of the corporation. The lines between WWF and WCW blurred when Vincent Kennedy McMahon won the Royal Rumble over the likes of Steve Austin, Triple H, Kane, because although people hated some of Vince's booking, no one anticipated McMahon stooping down to Russo's level of bad booking. Though Vince ended up forfeiting his title shot and Austin went on to dethrone The Rock for his third WWF Championship anyways, Stone Cold still should have won that Rumble. However, this trend didn't stop and Vince also booked himself to win the WWF Championship later that year. Number 3, Batista. 2014 was the year of the GOAT, Daniel Bryan, and even when Batista returned to WWE after 4 years to declare his entrance into the Rumble match, the WWE Universe wanted nothing other than a payoff to Daniel Bryan's underdog quest for the ultimate gold that had been going on since SummerSlam. And on the night of the Rumble, the anticipation was high for the Valkyries to fly, but when number 30 hit, the entire WWE Universe let out a roaring boo at even the surprise entrant of Rey Mysterio, because it meant that the fan favorite Daniel Bryan was not even in the match. So that Rumble was doomed, and when Batista eliminated Roman Reigns to punch his ticket to face Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event of WrestleMania, the Yes Movement in Pittsburgh did not care and defiantly expressed their disappointment by showering the Animal with thunderous boos that WWE was forced to turn Batista heel after that night. Regardless, WWE was smart enough to realize that they couldn't deny the Yes Movement, and after months of struggle, Bryan ended up being added to the main event of WrestleMania 30, and we all know how that ended, GOAT's fairy tale ending on Bourbon Street. Number 2, Roman Reigns. After the catastrophe that was the 2014 Rumble match, everyone had high hopes for the 2015 edition of the match, but in the months leading up to the premium live event, it had become abundantly clear to everyone that Vince McMahon had chosen Roman Reigns as the guy that will become the new face of WWE. We liked it or not, but the horrible booking of the match and Reigns' Rumble win was such a disaster that even an appearance from The Rock couldn't save his cousin from getting booed out of the arena. Reigns' babyface run never recovered from the negative reception that he got that night, and although he went on to face then WWE champion Brock Lesnar, Vince wisely booked the heist of the century, with Seth Rollins cashing in his Money in the Bank on Reigns to win the WWE title, just so the Mania main event didn't end the same way as the Rumble. Which brings us to number 1, Brock Lesnar. Just last year, Vince McMahon was hell-bent on making the 6th one-on-one match between the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and the Cowboy Beast Brock Lesnar the biggest WrestleMania main event in history, and a World Championship unification match was what he thought would be the most stupendous idea. So, in their big money grudge feud, WWE booked Reigns to screw Lesnar in his WWE title defense against Bobby Lashley at the 2022 Royal Rumble, only for Lesnar to win the Rumble match later in the night for the right to challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, and ended up recapturing his WWE title, wrecking an entire Saudi elimination chamber of main event caliber superstars on the road to WrestleMania, and eventually lost it all to the Tribal Chief. With Roman Reigns winning the undisputed WWE Universal title, Vince backed himself up in a corner where both of WWE's world titles currently held by an undefeated part-time champion with no worthy competitor that has a realistic chance of taking it off of the Tribal Chief. But WWE looks to dig themselves out of that hole with the winner of this year's Rumble match, and if Hunter's truly at the helm, it seems like this ship might not sink after all and could actually be headed in the right direction.